and let us know that you're interested so that we can actually begin the process. We're looking forward to it and looking forward to have campers there as well. I want to introduce you to a young man. His name is Kai Lucio. He's 17 years old. He's from Vanderwagen, New Mexico. He's also a student at Fort Wingate High School. Yay, go shush. He's also a Broken Arrow Bible Ranch alumni. Yay.
Yeah.
And he's performed at the Gallup Main Street Virtual Concert Series, Downtown Gallup Rocks. And that was done at Quintana's Music there in Gallup, New Mexico this past December. Kai, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Hey, first, I just want you to tell me a little bit about yourself and, just let the people know kind of where you're coming from.
Yeah, so my name is Kai Lucio. Yate Bene. Bitachni Enishle, Tohedlini Bashachin, Tabaha Deshache, Nanasteja Deshanella. My parents are Cora Lucio. She's from Coyote Canyon, and my dad is Lucas Lucio, and he's from Lupton, Arizona. But I grew up in Vanderwagen. We actually moved around a lot. So in Fort Wingate, when we moved there, I spent most of my elementary and middle school days there. So that's where I kind of grew up. But then most of my years, I actually spent it at Vanderwagen.
Nice,
So,
and I'm sure you got to go to camp every summer.
Oh, yeah,
hung
definitely.
out and everything. That's great.
Yeah.
So, was it at Broken Arrow Bible Ranch that you came to know Jesus, or did you find Christ somewhere else?
It was definitely the place where I accepted Christ. It was one of the skits that really just hit me deep, and that's where I gave my life to Christ. And Nick was there, and he was actually the one that pulled me in that direction of where to go. But actually, my family and my mom was actually the one that became a Christian in our family, and we would be forced to go to church. This was when I was like a kid, and I just didn't love going to church. But after years of dealing with family issues and being alone sometimes, like just seeing her strength and her faith in Christ was just so like inspirational that she would tell me that, like, as we would have car rides sometimes, that this is what Jesus did for her, this is what she's praying about. And it was just so inspirational to see her like that. Like, even when our home was broken sometimes, she was always there to pull it back together. And I thought that was just amazing. And then after that, I told my mom that I accepted Christ at Broken Arrow. Then she was happy for me, and we were at a church in Lupton, and that's where she announced my where I got saved. And after that, it's just been growing and growing. I didn't really take it seriously until high school, and that's where I started to learn more about Christ, and even got up to read my Bible and look up more into it, And then when I worked at Broken Arrow, that's where it changed my whole faith into a new level. And that's where I wanted to dedicate every single second of my life to Christ through music. And this is where I'm at.
That's an amazing story, and thank God for our mothers. I know my mother played a great role in my life too. Kai, just as far as your love for music, where did all that start from? Where did it all originate for you? Like, who were you listening to, and what happened when you started to realize, hey, I love this?
Yeah, so it's funny because my mom was just hardcore country, and she would listen to what's the guy's name? Josh Wilson. Yeah, and but like most of my family, they would listen to pop or anything like country. But it was until Broken Arrow, shout out to Joshua Hillis, he was playing Skrillex, EDM, and I was like, what is this type of genre? It's like really pump, like uplifting kind of, and it's electronic too. I've always loved like something electronic.
And for those that don't know what EDM stands for, it means electronic dance music. Yeah, just for those who don't know.
Yeah. And what it is like 8-bit sounds, like little game sounds, but in like a 128 BPM rate, and it was just exhilarating experiencing that type of genre for the first time. And actually another person too was Jose. He used to work at Broken Arrow.
Jose Silva.
Yeah. And he was actually my first wrangler the first time I went to Broken Arrow. And he talked about him making music and how he did it. And I was like, where could I start making music? And he actually pointed me in the direction of FL Studio. And that's where, you know, I got the idea of, oh, this is how Martin Garrix, a famous EDM DJ that like makes music, this is how he does it. And I would just like click and just do whatever I can on that DAW, and until it just started progressing more and more. I started, I think, at the age of 12. That's where I started really like going onto the computer and then making melodies and stuff. That's where I started.
So you didn't start with a guitar or a piano
No.
or anything like that. You started with electronic sounds off of a computer, and you made your sounds off of the beats and the music you can make off the computer, correct?
Yeah. And another thing too was that I bought a piano at a flea market for like $10, and I would just mess around with it. They even had this setting where you could follow along, like it was like a red light LED on the keyboards, and you could follow along how to play certain songs. I learned how to play that Beethoven song. I can't remember. Everybody knows how to play.
Oh, the Moonlight Sonata.
Yeah. I learned how to play that on the right hand, and then it just kind of progressed after that. Then I learned how to play Clocks by Coldplay, and that's how I kind of got the idea of playing the piano first. And then
So it just goes to show that you don't need that $1,000 whatever.
Exactly.
If you have something and you have a desire to make the music, you're going to find a way to do it. So
and
that's amazing.
Yeah, and I wanted to learn too, and especially when I went to, it was 8th grade middle school. This was the first time we had a band teacher, and I obviously wanted to join because I was already interested in music, and this was a piano class at first, and I was like, I would show off like to kids, being like, oh, this is how I know how to play, because I already had a piano at home, and I would play, and they were like so amazed with that. And then after that year, the next semester in 8th grade, we did band class, and that's where I learned how to play the saxophone. And she was an amazing teacher. We would go to mini farms, and we performed there and competed, and we actually got first place, I think. And it was. I just love playing instruments. It's always been there.
We're here with Kai Lucio, and he's a creator of EDM music, and you can get all of his music on all digital platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Google Music, and SoundCloud. And it's a mix of instrumentals and songs with lyrics. And just to further the conversation in this, Kai, how did you and I get connected musically, and how did the whole creation start between you and I? Because I know I was doing my stuff, and it was all COVID related when I started my stuff.
Yeah.
But how did we get together musically?
Yeah, I think the first time we actually met was at Broken Arrow. I remember some kids would stay at the chapel and then play the guitar, and you would like lend it to us, and that was where like we actually, I guess in a sense, saw each other. It's kind of funny because I was always intrigued by you, and I was always scared of you, just because of how the type of energy you would bring off. I would be like, oh, don't talk to him. He's like royal in that way. But it was actually until the first summer that I worked at Broken Arrow, 2019. That's where you really got to know me. Jacob and Terrence, I think. No.
Jacob James?
Yeah, Jacob James and Terrence. They introduced... Actually, I think you introduced them to me. And that's where you learned that I made music, and then that's when Jacob James and Terrence knew that I made like beats and stuff. Yeah, I think that was like the first year.
Yeah, I remember that now. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
And I remember when we talked about music, there was such an excitement there. I mean, there was an immediate connection, and there was an excitement there that like, hey, there's somebody else who creates music, who loves it as much as I do, and it was so cool. Go ahead.
It was at the chapel, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I would bring like my speaker and then my laptop, and I showed you at least like 10 songs that were in the making of, and you were just like so amazed with that. I remember how excited we both were about like projects and then like future like stuff that we would be working on. I remember that. Yeah.
And it was so much fun. I mean, just because I'm an old guy. I admit it. But at the same time, just hearing the excitement from you and the stuff you were creating, and quite honestly, and to be perfectly honest, I knew little of EDM.
Yeah.
But I was intrigued because I'd heard things like you said, you mentioned some of the names of Martin Garrix and Skrillex and Daft Punk and groups like that I had heard, and I thought, okay, where does this come from? How are they creating all this? And so for me, it was a learning experience as well to kind of see another level, a different part of music that I really wasn't that acquainted with, but the more and more I got exposed to it through you, the more excited I got about it.
Yeah.
So I want to get to the songs, and I want to listen to some of the songs. So I want to say that, tell me about this. You have about 30 plus songs in your catalog so far, and the ones that we're going to talk about today are available on all digital platforms, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure about that. Tell me about the first song we're going to share. It's called Choices. Tell me about Choices.
Yeah, so Choices is actually the first song that I made, and it was also the first song that I put out into Spotify, iTunes, and all of that. I thought it had potential, so that was like the first song that I wanted to put. And then I also wanted to like display a message of like, this is my choice. I'm going to do music. And that's why it's called Choices, is because there are so many ways you could go. I think I was like, I was in my freshman year. Yeah, it was freshman year. That was the first time I released that song. And that, like, it was like, am I going to be a doctor? Am I going to be, like a cop or any of that? But then, like, my true passion was really music, and I noticed that. So then that's why I displayed that song, Choices. And it's even got an artwork with, like a road. If you look at the artwork, it's got a road, and I thought that was a cool way to display the message that I was trying to portray. But in making the song, it actually started with the melody. And I think that's kind of mostly how I start off most of my songs, is by the melody. I'm just kind of dabbling on the piano. I didn't know much about music theory, but I would literally stay in the black keys because it would always sound so beautiful in any way you would play it. But yeah, that was that's how I started the song. And then I went into the beat, the chords, and then the synth. And I always loved picking out the synth that you would like the type of plugin you would use to make that synthy kind of sound, and I just love like mixing that in. But yeah, that's how this song came into. That was my first song.
Excellent. Let's hear the song Choices right now. So that was Choices, and you know what? I hear the journey in the song.
Yeah.
You know, that you can hear where there's forks in the road. You can hear the decision making going on. Just in those pauses, you hear that there's a moment there where you have to make a decision, right? And you can hear in the music there's a decision happening. So that's really cool. And now this is a reminder to people. This is EDM, electronic dance music, and this is all made through the computer, right? This is there are no live instruments, so to speak, but it's all with small little keyboards that have connections to the computer, and you're creating all the sounds in the keyboard. So really want people to know this is Kai Lucio. He goes by the artist name Kai Gone Soul, and he is also available on all digital platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Google Music, and SoundCloud. I want to talk now about your next song. It's called 1999 Stars. Tell me about 1999 Stars.
I love this song so much because it's a song full of memories. It's the first year you actually told me to make this song. It's funny because you came to me asking me to remix a song. What was the song?
Open the Eyes of My Heart.
Yeah. And you actually pulled me aside and told me, okay, you're going to be working in your studio, and I'll tell your counselors that you'll be in your studio. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So that, I would just spend my time trying to perfect this song, and it was so cool because I was the only one in my room, and it was so dark, and I would work on it from morning to night, and just kind of just focus on what I'm trying to portray. And it was, in a sense, I wasn't even like, okay, I want to sound like this. It was more like it was so smooth in the making of this song. You gave me a guitar, you recorded the guitar on the track, and I used that as a preference to get the idea of where we're going to go with the song. And it was just so awesome to get the vocal chops that I also did, because you also recorded vocals too for the song. And
I remember that.
Yeah. And then that's what you'll hear in the song is the vocal chops, and that's actually Dino singing, but with his voice pitched higher. And
so I sound like one of the chipmunks, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I love that song. People tell me, they're like, oh, Kai, I listened to this song and it just brought me back to Broken Arrow, because we played it at Broken Arrow. And I think that's why I love this song so much, is that it just has this meaning that truly just means love in a sense.
And when we played it at Broken Arrow, we didn't know how people were going to respond.
Yeah.
Because we had never done anything like that before.
Exactly.
This canned EDM music to go play with the live band.
Yeah.
And people just responded to it. It was such a tremendous response, and it was so cool. And
chills,
even now, it's just thinking about it. You're right. It does kind of make me get excited again. But here is 1999 Stars. Yes, that was 1999 Stars, and we are here with local Navajo EDM artist Kai Lucio, who goes by Kaigon Soul.
Yeah.
You can find all of his music on all digital platforms. The next song that we're going to talk about is a song called Home. And the last two songs were instrumentals and stuff that you had created with just the music in mind, and that was kind of your aim, that you just wanted to make music with just that.
Yeah.
But this one you wanted to put lyrics to, and you wanted to get some help, and so we've had a time to talk about lyrics and kind of what you were looking for in the song.
Yeah.
And that's how you got me involved with some lyric stuff, but you also got Sarah Stevens involved, and that's why she's here as well to help us talk about the song. So, Kai, tell me about Home and where it came from and where you were going with it, and then we can talk about some of the lyrical challenges that we faced in it.
Yeah, so this was around the time I was working on my first album called Mind, and this song is actually on there too. So, but what I started with was the guitar. It was the guitar riff. I had the capo on the 3rd fret, and then I just played a G, C, and an E minor and a D, and I just played that in a rhythm and at 128, and I just loved the chord progression that I had with it. And that was how I first started off with the song, and then it went into the melody that I actually like hummed, like a vocal kind of thing, and then I chopped it up like I did with yours, and that's what you hear on the drop is the vocal chop of my vocal. But then I was so excited, I finished it, and I went to Dino first because I thought I was going to have this in instrumental, but then I needed vocals. I needed lyrics to this because it was just a masterpiece to me. And that's when I went to Dino, and then that's when he brought Sarah. And I think this was the first time we actually met. And yeah, this was the first time we actually met. And after that, we started talking about lyrics. And what this song is about is just my inspiration from somebody that really, truly knew God. And their life was just full of so many toss and turns, and seeing them still believing in God and not caring what anybody says, it was inspirational. And I told these guys about it, and I told them I wanted, in a sense, I want this to also be a worship song because there's also some lyrics in that song that pertain to God and how He helps us through those times. And wherever, what was the chorus? Wherever your heart is home, my heart is something.
My heart is where you're home.
Yeah, I don't even know my song, but yeah, that's what it is. And that's like, in a sense, Jesus tells us that is like, wherever my heart is, or wherever your heart is, that, that's home in a sense. And also it's full of, I don't know, it's like full of memories. And it was just, I don't know, it was just so amazing to work with Dino and Sarah to actually sort out this kind of confusion that I had with the song. But
And songs are written in all kinds of ways.
Yeah.
Sometimes you give the lyrics first and then the music, and then sometimes the music is first and then the lyrics. But I want to give Sarah a chance to talk a little bit about the lyrical challenge that we faced and all that, because you literally gave Sarah the melody. You went, you just gave that to her, and then she said, okay, I'm going to find words in there. So we started on this quest of trying to find words and trying to pull all these things together. So Sarah, kind of give us an idea of where you saw the challenges and kind of what we wanted to do, and a little bit about your relationship with Kai as well.
Yeah, so it was really cool to be to help out with this project because, like Kai said, it was the first time we met was to work on music. And so it's really cool to write with other people, because I know when I was younger I would try to write music by myself and I just hit wall after wall after wall. And so to be able to write with people and bounce ideas off of each other and come up with things that kind of help you work through, that was really cool. And it was cool getting to know Kai through the ideas that he had. And this song in particular, I think he wanted it to be kind of ambiguous, so it could be a worship song, it could be a love song, it just depends on what the listener is thinking about while they're listening to it. But as far as the writing journey, we used a lot of thesauruses and we tried to find rhyme. It really is a process, but it was fun doing it with people that, have the same goals.
And you know what, Kai, you would agree with me on this, that we needed a vocalist who could pull this off. We needed someone who had a voice that could not only sound beautiful but convey the meaning and the depth and the richness of what you wanted to give to these lyrics. And we both knew that Sarah would be the one to sing these lyrics, and so it was just an amazing thing to pull it all together. I was happy with how the process went, and I'm so glad that we were able to get it all together. So this is a song called Home. Who landed vocals on that particular one. We're also going to hear one just now after this called Destination that Sarah also landed vocals to, and I want to just kind of piggyback on what Sarah said earlier about the fact that you wanted this song to be about worship of God and about love in general, and I see that theme in there, that this idea of hope and this idea of something, you're reaching for something.
Yeah.
There's always something. There's always a journey to some place. That's part of the music, and you can really hear it in what you're playing. And then we tried to match that lyrically with what we did in that song. So on Destination, tell me about Destination.
Yeah, so lyric-wise, the whole song was just based on a relationship. And that's where I told these guys, I wanted to, portray the type of relationships I've had in my life. And, we even had the word patience in there. I honestly wanted to have the title Patience of the song instead of Destinations. But the more I talked to Sarah and Dino about it, they were all in agree with Destinations, because when you're in a relationship, this was around the time Pastor Mike, I got the inspiration from his relationship goal. And what it is everybody has a goal, and if you're in a relationship, you should have a goal, because what are you aiming for if this, in this relationship that you're in. But that was basically the whole song, and I love this song. First of all, it came right after the second album, Heart, that I made, and it was, I called Dino and I told Sarah even about this, that I have a song, I want to do it. Let's write some lyrics to this, and I'll showcase to you guys. So then the next day we met up, and then I showed them the song, and they were in love with it, and that's when we started writing the lyrics to Destination.
And you know what, just to talk to Sarah as well about this, is that part of the thing with this is when we talk about love and relationships, there's an unrequited quality to that it's something that you want and something that you are reaching for, but it's not there. Sometimes it's not within reach, but then it is within reach. But it's there, and you can only get it if you stay with it and stay committed to it and stay a part of it. And I think that was also a part of the song that we were trying to recapture as well. Sarah, what was your take on the lyrics that we were making?
I really liked the theme of this song, just because there's a lot of love songs out there, but this one, it had a different meaning, just because, like what Kai said earlier, it had some direction. Usually love songs only talk about little parts of the relationship, like how it makes you feel or what you're going through, how it's broken and how you don't have love anymore. But this one was looking forward to love and working toward it. And so when we were trying to iron out those lyrics, I think that's what Kai kept kind of helping us get back to. He's like, no, this is what I want it to sound like. He's like, I'm not afraid to wait. There's patience, and this is where I want to go and see us going. So I think it's a unique love song in that sense.
I know we kind of went off the rails a couple times, and we were trying really hard to. We started coming with outlandish lyrics, and it started to turn into something funny. But we always brought it back to focus on really what, Kai, you wanted to do, and so it was really, really a good time, and it really speaks to where a lot of people are at, and I'm sure a lot of people will identify with where you're going and what you wrote. So again, sung by Sarah Stevens, Destination. Let's have a listen to it now.
like seconds passing by. Handwritten letters spark a fire in our hearts and our desire. I think of you before I sleep, praying for your love to keep. I know this dream is not complete. I'm counting stars until we meet. Don't wanna let this fragile thing fall from our grasp. It's better if we wait a while. Conversations, preparations, destinations, patience. Hold on, we're almost there. I know we feel like we are fading. I'm not scared of waiting, not too bold.
Kai, everything I've been hearing just sounds amazing, and thank you for what you've been able to share with us. We got a couple more songs to share, but I just wanted to say that just those great themes of love and romance and God and the supernatural and just how we navigate it in our humanity. You have all those themes in your music, and we're hearing all that and all those things. And for someone as young as you are, 17 years old, to be able to see those things, it's quite remarkable. And I just want to first of all say thank you for all that. A couple more songs here. Tell me about Retreat.
Yes. Cool. So this was actually my favorite one. It actually came out recently. It's a new song. Came out last month. And this song was based off of Winter Retreat. And I made this during winter. And because of the fact that we didn't get to have one retreat, even though we were trying so hard to plan for it, it was a bit heartbreaking to hear that we weren't able to have Broken Arrow for winter. So I wanted to make a song, in a sense, that correlates with that. And the song Retreat goes on a much deeper level for me because this was around the time, or, just the year 2020 was just a hard year. And being, trying my hardest to stay strong in those times. Retreat really, there was just this word that kept replaying into my head, and that's retreat. And, it was like the message that I was trying to portray is like, I needed to get back to the source because I've gone too far, or I've gone astray, and I need to go back to this source. And I'm, questioning, okay, what is that source? What is your source to regain your energy, regain happiness? And to me, that was God. And retreating back to God and getting back to in His Word, and then digging deep, and then praying every night, dedicating your days to Him. That was my way of retreating, so that I'm able to. And it's not in a sense like. It's not in a sense like a wussy move. It's more of like you're wounded and you need to go back to base to get healed up. And, we're just fighting daily, wars after war. And this was that song. And I've heard, shout out to Two Fake Blondes, they're an EDM artist that I know of, but they call this song an anthem. And I love that word, anthem, because it's like, it's something you're charging for. And it's after you retreat and go back to God. This was like halfway of the song. That's like the explanation of the song. You go back to God, you get healed up and everything. Then you go back out to war. And this is where things change. You're now with God. And you're now fighting with God. And now you're not the one retreating. Your enemies are retreating. And that's what I have displayed in the music video that Jacob James, shout out to him, that helped create that music video for me. And just the happiness that I feel in that song. And I just love this song so much, and that's like the message that I was portraying in Retreat.
Well, let's hear Retreat then. and that was Retreat, again by Kai Lucio, a.k.a. Kaigon Soul. Music available on all digital music platforms. I gotta say, Kai, that...
we're not recording. Sorry.
Okay.
Dude, go ahead and do that. Start over again.
Okay. Tell me when.
Aurora will be out. Or I'll tell him.
Okay.
And that was Retreat by Kai Lucio, a.k.a. Kaigon Soul. Music available on all digital music platforms. I gotta say, this song Retreat has a majestic quality, like you had said before. There's a majestic quality. It's cinematic. It almost like a movie. You know, it has a really cool vibe to it that kind of makes me think of, like Hans Zimmer and John Williams and people like that. You know, it has that kind of quality to it. So those are probably some of the influences you've had in the past as well.
Definitely.
Just movie soundtracks and things like that. And we could probably spend another hour talking about movies and soundtracks and things like that. But I see images in the songs, and that's something that's very powerful.
Yeah.
The last song we're going to talk about is Aurora. And tell me about Aurora.
Aurora is a new song, and it'll be out on March 26th. So be on the lookout for that. But this song is now in a different direction of the coming summer, this coming year. You know, everybody's feeling good about this year. I'm feeling good about 2021, and I want to start off with just a good, happy kind of vibe where everybody, you can dance to this. You can, just. I would play this in the shower and dance to this. This is the kind of song that, it's got a good feeling. And I've even showed some of my past Broken Arrow friends, off and on, being like, hey, check out this song, especially from Nick. And, he's like, oh, this gives me tropical vibes, beach vibes. And, it's a feel-good song. And that's what this song's about. It's an instrumental, no lyrics, and he also did the artwork. Nick Salazar, shout out to him. He did the artwork for the album cover, and I actually went to him for Heart and Mind, the album cover. He actually drew those, so big shout out to him. But yeah, Aurora is definitely a feel-good song and a summer song.
again is Aurora by Kai Lucio, aka Kaigon Soul. Music available on all digital music platforms. Kai, it's been a joy to listen to the music you have and hear the stories behind the songs, and I hope people will go out there and find your music on all the digital platforms. We talked about SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Google Music, and wherever they can find it. How can people get a hold of you, and how can they access your music aside from the ones that we talked about?
Yeah, so most of my songs and future projects will be on iTunes, Spotify, and all those platforms that you said. But most of my content will actually be on YouTube at Kaigon Soul. So I'll be posting videos and new music, and I'm also selling hip-hop beats on SoundCloud. I barely started yesterday, so be on the lookout for that. If you know anybody that's a rapper and wants to buy a couple of beats, they're on for sale now, and they'll be displayed on SoundCloud. And that's where you can find me. Other than that, you can contact me, kailucio60@gmail.com, KAILUCIO60@gmail.com.
And I know we've talked a lot about the music and about the ideas that went into it, but can we talk a little bit about what you're recording with? I know you're using a computer and you're using a variety of programs, but what are you recording with? Yeah,
so I use FL Studio 20. That's my DAW. And I have 2 KRK speakers. And I also, fun fact, I also have a studio that me and my dad built this past summer. And I was able to have a couple of my friends come over, record, and do whatever they needed. And it just makes it more easier to record in that way. But I also have a Focusrite as my audio interface. I have a Rockville microphone. And I have an Akai MPK249 MIDI controller. And a Yamaha guitar. And those are all my recording essentials and what I use to make music.
So, Kai, I'm going to ask you again about all these platforms towards the end here again, but what are your immediate plans for the future?
My immediate plans is to go to Salt Lake City at SLDP, Salt Lake City DJ and Productions. It's a little course that they provide for small-time DJ and producers, and they just teach more about how to sound design and what the business of music is, and that'll be in Salt Lake City, and that's where I'm going in the month of August, right after I spend my 2 months at Broken Arrow Bible Ranch. But those are my immediate plans.
Well, thank you, Kai, for sharing your music with us, and again, you can reach Kaigon Soul for Kai Lucio on YouTube and Instagram at Kaigon Soul, KYGONSOL, and you can hear his music again on all digital platforms, Google Music, iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Just look for Kaigon Soul. Thank you, everyone, for listening to M&A, and I'm your host this week, Dino Butler. And thank you so much, Kai, for being a part of us and for sharing your music. Thank you also to Sarah Stevens for sharing about her part on the journey. Thank you to Across Nations, to KTBA, KWIM, and KHAC for allowing us to come and do this. This is Dino Butler signing off. Have a great day, everyone.